You like the game?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
No, it was the
What the
best.
hell are you doing with that?
No, I need you to try this again.
You love this.
No,
you
I'm telling you, I love it. I've been doing. I got off all the energy drink. You know, I used to load those up on those, and I figured out, that shakiness when I'd be hanging all the artwork and stuff. I was like totally way caffeinated. And these things, it's like a cleaner energy. I feel like more focused on things.
Magic Mind.
Magic Mind.
I remember because we've had them before, and I like them. I just haven't. But you and Lonnie love Magic.
Oh yeah. When
she steals yours.
Oh yeah. I'm like, hey, can I get some more?
Yeah. What's good about it?
I like it because, like I said, it doesn't give me the jitteriness. I found that like any other sort of energy drink, would make me jittery, and like I eliminated like. Look at that. Steady as
I know. I noticed that.
Steady as rock.
Steady as a rock.
Except this is my shooting hand.
All right, I'll do one with you.
All right, let's do it.
All right, ready?
Isn't that nice? It's kind of like a little.
Kind of like orange juice almost.
Yeah.
That's good.
Not bitter or anything like that. You're gonna feel good. I'm telling you, you're gonna get a lot done today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've cleared out my whole house. I've been pulling stuff out because we were looking to move and stuff. I've been pulling out stuff, taking to Goodwill.
Well, I will get a link. I'll put that in the description. Mind. And I was recording.
Oh, wonderful.
All right, I will. You know what? I'll put that in front of the episode.
Maybe
but
next
Magic
time.
Mind. We'll put it, and you have the.
When you do the regular show, you sometimes forget to push record, but this time.
No, this time I was just recording. So I will put the link in the description because we have Magic Mind, who's going to be wonderful for this episode. I'm glad that you are always the person who's telling me about this.
All right. I'm the best.
You're pretty good. All right. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here, says the great late Leslie Nielsen. Nice to have you all with us on the big thing. It's Capes and Cowls. I'm excited. Yeah, he's dead. That's why I said late great.
Will you focus?
I'm focusing on you. Why are you talking?
I didn't say a single word out loud. I mouthed it.
Yeah, and I read it. Isn't he dead? Yeah. Hence, late great.
Bitch, I understand what late great means. I didn't know.
You didn't know he was dead?
This is how he finds out live.
Well, yeah, just let you know. Leslie Nielsen is dead, everybody.
Naked Gun, 5 1/4.
Yeah, I think you were thinking of
Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Steve Martin's still alive.
All right, welcome back. It's Capes and Cowls. We got stuff to talk about. Winston was way off with the Marvel's prediction, box office, and we'll say exactly why. We'll hit those numbers. And, what does that mean? Is it going to do anything? We kind of expected it. How is it going to play for Marvel with new movies coming up, with all the moves and whatnot? Now, speaking of other movies that are coming up, the big news is that it looks like we finally got Mr. Fantastic. Now, this is a role. I mean, we've been around this for a long time. We've seen so many people, so many big roles. Rumor this person, this role, though, man. It was like every Thursday was somebody new. But this time they say Pedro Pascal is either, by the time this airs, he might have signed already. I don't know. It's like it was that close. So is that a good choice, bad choice, safe choice? We'll talk about that in just a second. Speaking of future Marvel movies, Kang Dynasty looks like it's toast, guys. All signs point to it's toast. The screenwriter, there's news that screenwriter left. And the director's like, yeah, I'm gone, but I'm sticking around the family. I'm still doing a bunch of stuff, just not doing that movie. And then with Loki, the way Loki played. So what happens there? We'll talk about that for sure. There's stuff that's happening. Invincible. Winston keeps telling me to watch it. Yeah. And the good answer for him is that I have not. So we will eventually watch that. I've watched a couple episodes. I just haven't seen season 2 yet. So we'll get it. There's tons of other things to talk about for sure. There's Superman stuff, I think, and whatever. There's a lot of other things. So join us. I'm glad you're joining us. If you haven't already hit that button, hit that subscribe button, man. We are already at 102,000. We're approaching 103. We should be there really soon. If you guys hit that button, you should help us get there. You can also get to our show. That's right. We're going to be at Flappers Comedy Club on December 2nd. The link is in the description. We hope that you can join us. We're going to all be doing stand-up comedy there, and we'd love to have you on out. So, without any further ado, it's myself, it's Winston A. Marshall, it's Coy Jandro. Let's do it. Capes and Cowls. Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the big thing, Capes and Cowls. Kristian Harloff, Winston A. Marshall, Coy Jandro. Guys, we're back, and it's hilarious because we have like our text chain. I always know when we get closer to the actual shooting because that's when Coy responds.
Oh right. This is right.
We're getting close. We're getting close.
I'll see them. They can call me out, and then they will anyway.
I have used the Bueller with the question mark.
Oh man,
so with him maybe 1,000 times. I don't think I've ever used it with you. I don't think I've ever needed to use
because
it with you.
here's the thing. I'm actually
You're a good friend.
it's because I turn my phone off on weekends, and Kristian uses the phone on weekends. It's
really.
a conflict. It's always Saturdays. I always feel
Not
bad
really.
because it was after the live stream with Greg. I turned my phone off, and then I saw when I turned it on Monday, and I was like, "Oh, it's always Kristian. I'm a monster."
That's why I call
you
Winston
turn
more
your
than you anyway.
That's that's aesthetically
Let
stunning.
me ask you guys this question. This is an age-old question that comes from the Collider Live days. But I was in
Party in the Bar Tower?
No. But this is about superpowers, right? If you have, and I think that we might have had this conversation once. I'm not sure, but I want to know where you guys stand. The newer audience will hear this from the first time. The old audience will be like, here's this one again. Like what power you would take, right? What power would you have if you could take any power from being a superhero?
It changes as I get older. I think telekinesis is the most consistent if it burned calories.
Okay.
Like if telekinesis was like it cost so I could like lose weight and move stuff with my mind.
Okay.
So I didn't have to like get up, but I could also like, navigate moving around.
Okay.
And if they could also like make me fly because you could lift yourself.
Yeah, sure. What about you?
I'm gonna cheat here, and I'm actually gonna say key control, as in like the stuff that people in Dragon Ball Z can do. So like that allows you to fly and shoot beams and like teleport and all that because it's literally manipulating like your spiritual energy
elements.
to do stuff. Yeah.
So mine is the power words, and when I say this, it's a matter of like not hypnotizing, not being able to get you to like. Oh, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna make wins. Like in Gen V, she tells somebody to do it.
Are we gonna talk about that ever?
Yeah, we will. But
Okay.
so my thing is imagine like if you ever gone into like a job interview, you go into the interview and you leave and you go, damn it, if I would have just said this.
Yes.
If I would have just said this, it would have gone a different way.
God damn it.
You're right. You're not manipulating it. You have the choice to say the right things.
Yeah.
So like just always knowing like if no matter who you're talking to, the right pattern. And then because Rocky's like that would just be an evil power. I'm like it's not an evil power because in the same way that Professor X could be a very evil dude. Now he can manipulate and stuff too. That's a very different power. But it's a power. It depends on the person that has it. My thing is like if you use it in a way you can go in. It's like okay, again many times whether you're in a relationship and you said the wrong thing and it turned into a fight when if you just would have said that, it might have turned into something else. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of is that
So it's
evil?
life on easy, but in conversation. Like it's the ability to map
it's
out.
It's just knowing the right words to say.
I'll put it to you this way. I don't think that it's necessarily evil. If you're manipulating someone,
It's not manipulation.
no. I understand that. If you're genuinely manipulating someone, then that's a different thing.
Right.
But like I think about the fact that there are people that do have the gift of the gab.
Right.
And they do know the right thing to say. Sure, you don't have the 100%, I know exactly that this will work.
Right.
But you have understood how to talk to
of
people,
course.
how to read a room, all that.
And
So
evil
you're like-
people have done it. It's a matter of how. It's like anything. If an evil person was super strong, if an evil person could teleport, if an evil person could do it, there's no difference. It's like-
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if you literally watch The Boys or Gen V, you look at any of those, like someone that cannot, like, for example, if you had Wolverine powers, you don't even necessarily have to have the claws,
Right.
but you could just heal infinitely.
Right.
What's to stop you from being
Doing
like,
it.
I'm going to go rob this place,
Jump off a building,
whatever.
no one can chase you. Yeah.
You could end up insurance and fraud that. You're just you jumped off, everybody thinks you're dead, you
Yeah.
end up getting the cash out.
check.
And it is. I mean, look, you could use like same thing. You could rob a bank, do something heinous. You could kill somebody.
Yeah.
Right. And then someone goes, "Well, defend yourself." And in your head, you're like, "Oh, well, I know what to say." And of course, you could use that on an evil side of things. Of course, you could. But here's what the other thing you couldn't do: don't kill somebody. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess that's simple.
That's the whole thing. Is that it's like any power can be manipulated for bad. So I will. And to this day will push back. Roxy like has her feet in the ground to it, saying that's out of all the powers, that's an evil power. It's
no, because that's the thing. At any point in time, if Magneto genuinely was like, you know what, F this place, he could just completely destroy the core's axis and it's done. I think that's a little more evil than like I convinced you to give me all your money.
Any power is inherently benevolent or malevolent.
That's what I'm saying. It's about who's using it. But
right, because you could flip that. The flip side of that is you could make it inherently good. You can say, okay, look, I'm going to go, and I know exactly the right things to say.
Convince every world leader to actually end world hunger.
Yeah,
convince every world leader to, you know what I mean? Like, it could be used that way.
I have a small guess as to why that might, like, because I can see a number, like, it's interesting that they had the girl in the group of Gen V be the one that's able to do that. I think if you're thinking about Purple Man,
well, she can't do what I'm saying. She wants you to just do anything you want. She's not saying the right.
They're cousins. They're cousin.
No,
powers.
I'm talking about her power. Well,
no, I know they're cousins.
It's in the same neighborhood.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because you brought up Professor X, you could say the Purple Man from Jessica Jones and all that. Yeah. It's one of those situations where, like, I think specifically where I could see where Roxy, and honestly anybody, but especially like women, I could see where that would be like an issue. If you had the Purple Man's abilities, we saw how evil he was using those abilities, and that in and of itself is kind of like just like a nerve-wracking.
It is. It's of course. It's the way that it's like if you knew the right things to say to get, because again you could say like, okay, look, I want to say the right things to make Winston go outside and just, and walk my dog for me. But I got to say the right things. It might take me an hour to do it.
It's the age-old thing, and you said it. It's all about who's doing it.
Right.
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So you just have to hope you have a strong enough foundation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, that's the show. Thanks, guys, for joining us here today. Appreciate it. On Powers. No, there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Huge week.
Tons of stuff.
My
so
God.
Let's get to this first story. Pedro Pascal is in talks for Marvel's Mr. Fantastic. At the time of this, when this airs, he could be cast. Who knows? Here's the report itself. This one's from Dark Horizons, and it says Game of Thrones, The Last of Us, and The Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal is officially in talks to play Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, in the upcoming Fantastic Four reboot. Scooper Daniel RPK initially reported the news a few hours ago, saying that he was offered the role and was close to signing. Film followed it up with a report a few minutes ago saying that he has already signed, and then Deadline said that it's still in talks. The trade says that the deal is far from done. Multiple sources say it's headed in the right direction for Pascal, with his scheduling commitments currently being worked out. Pascal has to resume filming on Gladiator 2 in the coming weeks, and his commitments to shoot both Barbarian director Zach Krieger's Weapons and the second season of The Last of Us. The latter will film throughout all of next year. It was reportedly essential to figure out who would be playing Richards, a scientist and inventor who would be one of the smartest characters in all of the MCU, before the studio could go out with offers to cast other members of the team, and now they can. The project is aiming to film early next year, with Matt Shankman currently in pre-production. Okay. So then I want to, before we even get to that part of it, I want to get to Jeff Snyder's tweet. All right, Jeff Snyder says, with Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Eben Moss-Barack poised to star, sources say that Kevin Feige felt that the Fantastic Four cast was shaping up to be way too white, and thus he made a push for Pedro Pascal. So my thoughts on all of this is that, look, I love Pedro Pascal, but it just seems like it's like, hey, it's the same thing when they were gonna like the Gyllenhaal casting to me was the worst we've heard so far. Mm-hmm. Not as far as talent.
No, we talked about it pretty at length. It's about
as far as talent, as far as just he was already in the MCU, it would be confusing. There's other people you can get. Pedro Pascal is in everything, and he's in everything right now. He's in The Last of Us. Do I think he'd make a good Reed Richards? I think he'd make a fantastic Reed Richards. I think he'd make a really
pun intended.
Yeah, right. It wasn't, but it should have been. But I think that there's I mean, he's going to bring everything that this character has, and I have no problem with the fact that he's not white. It's like you can change it up. But what I will say though, if the Feige thing is true though, to where it's just like, oh wait a minute, everybody's white, we got to get Pedro Pascal. It's like, what?
I don't know.
It feels forced.
Inauthentic.
It feels forced, and it's like. Not because Pedro Pascal's not great. He's great. And if he gets the role, I'm going to love him in the role. I love Pedro Pascal. But that shouldn't be the reason why he cast. It just shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the reason why he cast. To just force it. It's like you can you should have been seeing other actors. Every actor
But
that's
it's
been
not-
rumored so far. Adam Driver, Gyllenhaal. No, we haven't
have
heard
a theory.
We haven't heard
Driver since the.
anybody. You heard?
But I love.
I have a theory. And it was something that somebody was poking my brain on Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, that actually makes a lot of sense. I have a feeling that we are gonna get Adam Driver and John Krasinski and all of these people that were rumored.
Multiverse. I should say they did. Diego Luna was rumored at one point,
I think what you're gonna get, and he knows about this. There's something very similar to the Council of Kings. There's a Council of Reeds, and it's the idea of all the Reeds across the multiverse come together to kind of put their brain power together, and essentially, the people have seen it in Rick and Morty. People have seen it, whatever, and so I could potentially see that, and maybe the main Reed we're following is Pedro. But that all of these other rumors, I mean, again, from the fact that we've already seen Krasinski as is, that means we have acknowledged that a lot of these people can have different faces and whatnot. So
here's the only reason I think that is probably not likely, only because we're not in phase 3 anymore, and they can't spend that kind of money right now. They're going to be cutting back on costs, and especially they don't even know what their Avengers movies are right now, which we'll get into.
I'm not saying we're going to see them in the Fantastic Four movie, because I don't think you want to overinflate that budget.
Yeah.
But I think like when we get to Secret Wars and all that kind of stuff, I think there is a strong possibility that they have approached all these folks and been like at some point
to kind of chime. But it becomes a gimmick, right?
Yes, but the Council of Reeds is like a big of enough thing, and especially when you're talking Secret Wars, so you really are diving into multiversal stuff. Like the big thing about the most recent Secret Wars is that the Ultimate Verse is collapsing, and so is the 616 verse, and they're like colliding into each other and having what's an incursion? Yeah. And in that, the two Reeds essentially are kind of trying to solve that problem and figure out how to do it, and one of them ends up surviving and one of them doesn't. But like, it's all the different Reeds trying to figure out how they save their universes. So
Right.
I could see it at some point. Again, it would be cameo level, and then you don't have to pay somebody $5
a day
million.
or two of shooting.
Let me ask you guys a question with the risk of myself getting canceled here. No, because I want to ask this question because I don't know the answer to
He's
it.
gonna bring us down with him.
No, I just
Thoughts of Kristian
I know,
Harloff.
but I don't know the answer to it, because if it's going to be, like with all the movies that we've had, I think that Marvel has been very good with inclusion. I think over the last 3 or 4 years, if there was one movie that they did, and we're like, okay, well, because these in the past we've had traditionally the Fantastic Four has been this white family. So what if this for this family we leave it as the way it is? We're not going to abandon our plan. The plans, everything that we're going to go through, whether we have an Ironheart.
Yeah.
I
He just watched Ironclaw.
I did. We have an Ironheart show coming out. We have all these different. We're going to do some stuff with the Young Avengers. We're going to do some other things, and we're not diverting from our plan, but this is going to focus on this family in the way that we had it. What's wrong with that?
I think that there is enough of variety in the MCU that as any studio goes, they shouldn't have to make decisions based on that.
Right.
I think some studios have that issue, and I think that some properties have that issue. I personally think the MCU isn't one of them, but I'm also a white dude looking at it going like,
yeah,
well,
no, that's why I ask it the way that I'm asking it.
But I can only reflect what you're reflecting.
Right.
That when I look at the MCU, I'm not like,
right.
Snow White.
If they had all the they had done nothing, and this is consistently, and they're like, you had an opportunity here to finally let's say they had no inclusion for the last 4 or 5 years, and they're like, you had the opportunity to maybe make Reed Richards, and you could have done it here. That would have been fine. Then so I'm just curious.
Okay, so I'll put it this way. I already know that some people are going to be like, blah, 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 but it's as simple as this. I think if the idea was specifically Feige going, this is too white, we have to do something about it, I do think that that's a problem.
Yeah.
However, if you're just talking about when people get bent out of shape, it's like, well, why did you, The Little Mermaid? Why did you change it?
Right.
It's in that particular case, if one's race literally is not anchored to the actual character, it just happens to be who they are, then it doesn't matter. Agreed. You cannot make Black Panther white other than the adoptive stepbrother that comes in the White Wolf type situation. You can't make Black Panther white because it's about an African country and the lineage of the people that lived there becoming king, becoming that superhero. There's nothing intrinsically about Miss Reed Richards that is white.
Right.
If we were saying that Reed Richards, 1800 England, odds are there's probably not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So then people will go, okay, well, what about Bridgerton? What about Hamilton? Well, Hamilton in particular, you took the entirety of everybody that were there,
is subversion.
and exactly, you took the entirety of the cast and did that. So that's different.
Right.
And then Bridgerton, again, same thing. It's not really based in history. It is its own kind of fiction with things being pulled from it. So in this case, there's nothing intrinsically about Reed being extra. It's not like he and Doom both grew up in Latveria, the whitest country on the planet, and so it doesn't make, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's where we're on the same page. Where I can see him as Reed Richards,
right?
But it's not a matter of like, oh, why did you change it? It's not that. It's a matter of like, just because you're looking at the cast,
that to me is silly.
We need a little shakeup here,
especially if it requires so much more. Like if 4 actors are awesome for this role and 3 have better scheduling availability, if that was the decision behind it, that feels contrived to me.
Yeah,
but I do think that it's a tricky spot because everyone's schedule is so stacked because of the strike. I don't know how they're going to navigate anyone of that caliber of fame playing Reed Richards while they're 6 months behind.
The other thing you got to keep into consideration, and it's very. I mean, Jeff has had a lot of these insider scoops, and he knows what he's talking about. So I'm not going to take anything away from that. The other thing that might be at the core of this is the fact that you have Pedro. You've had no issues with Adam Driver per se, but you have Pedro who has already been playing nice within the kind of the Disneyverse as it is, and so they're very much. We already know he's solid. We already know he's bankable. He's now got 3 Emmy nominations between Mandalorian and Last of Us.
And that's the thing. People find him sexy. People find him cool, and it's like so he's the right. I understand the casting decision why you do it. It's just the fact that he's just in everything.
I think he's too approachable. And that's a weird
Reed
thing
Richards?
to say. Yeah, like Reed Richards to me should be a little like.
Well, look at Joel. Look at Joel.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, but
Joel's
Joel
not
doesn't
approachable?
seem too smart for everyone. He seems too worldly. Like he's scrappy.
Don't talk to the guy because he'll kill you.
He's Wolverine. Like he's a guy in a bar.
I get it.
Whereas like Reed should be someone that uses polysyllabic words exclusively.
So that's the thing. I think what all you needed to do, because Pedro is a good of enough actor. All you needed to do is to have that dickishness in him.
The writing is going to make it read. I'm just saying when I think of vibe, I don't go, I'm a fight for Pedro Pascal.
But look, he's a talented enough actor that he could like that. So
I'm not worried about the acting.
Because even though the movie's not great, the Wonder Woman 84 character kind of fits
He's got
that thing.
But I just when I look at Adam Driver, I'm like, I don't know if I'd approach that guy in public if he wasn't famous. And like
Adam Driver to me is a better casting choice.
And I think Jake Gyllenhaal also has that thing where he's like, Mysterio notwithstanding, there's a Ness, and like I'd say like a Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's got this pomposity. I'd say like Penn Badgley, he's got that thing where he's like,
Penn was my favorite rumor.
But I'm saying all of those people share that, whereas Joel Edgerton's the outlier of like that guy seems like I'd have a beer with him.
But that's my question is right. The question is when you put and the answer to this might be yes, and if that's the case, then I hope then let's do it, right? Like, but when you look at the audition tapes and you say like, okay, Pedro Pascal's, I looked at what he's doing. Reed, he is significantly his audition to me felt way more like Reed Richards than Adam Driver, Penn Badgley, Gyllenhaal. If that's the case, if that was a decision, then I'm all for it. Then if that's legit, then let's do it. Let's
and if
watch
that's
it.
what Sarah Haley Finn thinks, then I'm in because her casting has been. People don't give her enough credit. If you look at what she's built, she's the only one that's made a consistent shared universe where everyone has to interact well together. If you look at like the casting of Chris Evans, this is a guy coming off of how many, comic movies beforehand. You got your Scott Pilgrim, The Losers, these things that didn't take off as well. And then she trusts him to be able to interact with Downey and with Scarlett and with all these people. And she sees this 10-year plan. So if she sees Pedro, something is within Pedro's performance that means like he's going to be interacting with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and everyone else.
Just even hearing you say it, of course he's going to be able to.
But that's what I'm saying. It would have to be above and beyond in order for the scheduling and all the other things. And the fact that he's got all these things you have to juggle. That's a different level of like, how are you going to make this work? So I'm hoping that's why.
Yeah, my question also is this with Pedro. Pedro, whether you believe the rumors or not, right, seems like he's lost interest in The Mandalorian, right? To where, there's rumors that he's not even going to be in the 4th season. Who knows how true that is? But it's a different situation because it's more so he's not really on set. It's just his voice, really. But is he gonna want to lock in for the amount of years that he's gonna have to for Reed?
My favorite conversation about why he would potentially do this after doing Last of Us, Mandalorian, Game of Thrones, why he would do it. Someone took the the scene from Batman Forever. The only good time Batman Forever has really been used, and it's Carrie and Tommy Lee Jones in the thing 100,001, 100,000. I lost count. Like it's just to get your bag after being on like. I get he's a multimillionaire after being on strike for this amount of time. People got private school and all that. You're like, go cash a check.
Yeah, but that's still like he's not going to be, and he's also not going to be hurting for work because Last of Us season 2 is going to do very well. He's got these other. He's a very sought out actor, obviously. So if he's going to commit, look, like
he's
I said,
always Saldana, bro. Like of course, Avatar,
I know,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
But that's a great point. But here's my whole point is I'm a big Pedro Pascal fan, and having him in this role is not going to hurt the movie at all. And this conversation that we're having now will disappear from everybody. They're going to be like, okay, Pedro Pascal, that's who it is. It's it. Everybody just at first going, okay, well, curious why. I just feel like especially if you're Kevin Feige. You should be making the decision, and again, the decision very well because, as you said with Snyder, he could be dead on or he could be wrong here. And if Kevin Feige legit, if Kevin, I think he earns the trust, or if Kevin Feige was looking at everything and said, no, you know what, I'm looking at all these auditions, Pedro's our guy. Then go for it. If it is the other side of it, it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. That's a problem. That's a problem. It's like there's no reason. It's like
also like a weird quote. I feel like who's in the room when someone says something like that? That gets like it just feels like something to be argued.
No, I know.
It's one of those things like the Variety article where I'm like, this sounds like something to be clickbaity.
It's
not that
also,
Snyder's clickbaiting. I'm saying like it's an argumentative point.
Like in the realm of like what you said, there has been so much focus on making sure that there is inclusion, which I genuinely appreciate.
Of course.
That. To then say that out loud now, just and to have that mentality, if that's what it is, that feel like even I can openly admit that's not. I don't love that. You know what I'm saying?
If that's the case,
I also just don't hear Kevin Feige being like in a meeting, like guys.
I don't.
There are too many whites.
It just doesn't feel
so many whites.
I would have agreed with that if I would have agreed with that. If I hadn't heard him say that quote about WandaVision and having Doctor Strange come in.
Which one? Which
he
quote?
He made a quote about, well, we didn't want
a man in a woman show or something.
A white man coming in in the middle of the show or something along those lines. And I don't know what the quote exactly was, so I could be misquoting it. And it was the way that he said it that it was just like, well, why didn't you just say Doctor Strange just didn't fit?
Yeah.
And it's like there was.
I mean, the other way that you could have easily tackled that and that still would have been valid, it was Wanda's problem. Yeah. So instead of to that point having a man come and fix her problem, you could have had Strange come in. And maybe he tries to help, but he's way outside of it. Well, not even that. He's outside his depth.
Right.
So maybe he understands, and maybe he tries to start to get a message to her.
It would have helped out Doctor Strange Part 2 more. I'll say that.
It would have. But then you end up in a situation where it's like, because as we saw in Multiverse of Madness, he was outside his depth. He really could not handle her.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so like, if you would just have that situation where it's like, no, it's not this dude's job to come and solve her problem. She created this thing. It's her fixing her own thing, and I think that would have been fine.
He shouldn't have saved the day at all. But to not just take him out because that's why I think that it's possible that he said that. But who knows? What do you guys think? Yeah.
The last thing that I will say, to be honest with you, where I was actually frustrated with all of this Pedro Pascal news is specifically from the standpoint of how quick clickbaity it was. Pedro Pascal is Mr. Fantastic. That became the story for like a good 8 hours of like, it's done. He's already done. Like
he's signed,
and it's over, and that's the casting and the number of people that were automatically like whatever. I get it. I know we're excited. I also know that you want to be the first person to drop the story and all that. If it's one thing to say, it looks like it's pretty clear. There's like an 80% chance. Right. That's one thing. But to say the number of things that I saw he is cast is ridiculous.
That's why props to, I think, Deadline, who did the I think it was Deadline.
They said eyes.
They went to the investigated reporting when there was 2 other sites that said, yep, it's happening, it's done. And like the thing that got you frustrated, and they said, well, no, it's close, but they're trying to figure out schedule. They're trying to do all this stuff, but it's close.
It's just it's my beef right now, I would say, with the media as far as how the strike was handled at times, and we know there was maybe some string pulling there and whatnot as to why that was happening. But then even like we were complaining about the Variety article and like some of the stuff that was said in there, a lot of that just felt like we need people to pay attention, so we're gonna use particular words.
Welcome to the business.
Let's get the welcome to the internet songs.
It's just gotten worse.
You're not wrong.
Oh, dude! In 5 years from now, it'll just be like whatever the end of the movie is the headline, and you're not gonna like. It'll be press screenings or bust for us because there's no version of reality where people get to actually enjoy art in 5 years.
Anyway, so what do you guys think overall with everything that we talked about? Let's start with the positives here. Are you excited that Pedro Pascal is essentially going to be Reed Richards? He's a fantastic actor. What do you think? Are you excited about that? The other side of it is, everything that we discovered or discussed inside of this conversation. What are your thoughts? What's up, Winston?
I just, when you said, are you excited about Pedro Pascal being it, is like, life could be good. It could be better.
So go ahead, please, and let your voice be heard. Comment away. Let's talk about it. I want to get your thoughts. And look, I will tell you right now, the most positive thing that you can do in all of this is have a good meal while you do it. And that is Green Chef, man. I'm loving Green Chef, and I'm also going to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing on Patreon. Here you go. I love talking about Green Chef. You guys know I do. And I'm going to talk about them even more. It's Thanksgiving time, baby. You got to eat clean all holiday long with 80 plus weekly options that change every week, featuring delicious, nutritionist-approved recipes. You can choose from their 8-meal preference with options for every lifestyle. Quick and easy, protein-packed, calorie-smart, Mediterranean, keto, delicious discoveries, gluten-free, and plant-based. Eating clean shouldn't be boring, especially during the holiday season. Feel your best and satisfy your cravings with adventurous eats made nutritious. Discover exciting new flavors with recipes that feature certified organic fruits and vegetables, sustainably sourced seafood, and unique farm-fresh ingredients like tart cherries, truffle zest, and rainbow carrots. Eat clean the delicious way this November with flavor-packed recipes like buttery lemon garlic shrimp, harissa apricot chicken, maple burnet squash risotto, and sriracha tamari beef bowls. I love Green Chef. You guys know it. I've been eating it forever, and now I was so excited because I'm so excited in general that they're with us, but I was so excited to be selfishly because of the holiday season, and I cannot wait to get the stuff for Thanksgiving. Can't wait. It's so delicious. Makes me feel good, and I don't know. I just, for some reason, I feel like a chef. I'm definitely not, and I definitely feel like one when I'm working with Green Chef. For Green Chef's best deal of the year, you're going to get $250 off, but you got to use that code THING250 at greenchef.com/thing250. Did you hear what I just said? $250 off with the code THING250 at greenchef.com/thing250. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Guys, I'm so excited to tell you about the Patreon. I know a lot of new people have been signing up. I'm so excited that you have been. We have just done a complete rehaul of the Patreon, and there's a lot of new goals. We have a full year. If we can get to 1,000, hopefully before that, but if we can get to 1,000 patrons, Winston's going to go to Universal, and he's going to go to Halloween Horror Nights, and he doesn't like those things. Me, I don't like the Red Sox. So as we approach, I think it's like 700 patrons, I have to watch the Red Sox beat the Yankees with JTE, for God's sakes, from the 2004 series. Very painful for me. We have a lot of other things. The Flirt and Flout's going to jump out of a plane at 10,000 patrons. But the other side is we have a lot of extra content over there. We got stuff going on, whether it's exclusive episodes a day before they come out to the YouTube channel. We have exclusive that's just exclusive. There's an extra show that Riley and I do over there. There's going to be some live Q&As that we do over there. So there's all of that. That's a lot of fun. The direct connectivity to all of you guys has been very, very exciting. One of the things that I think has really been going over well are these one-on-one sessions that I've been doing with people. There's only around 12 spots per month, and they're going pretty fast. Since we switched over from the website, I still think there's like 3 or 4 left, but it's essentially just me for about a half an hour talking to people, and we go over a lot of different things. We talk movies, we talk about life. It's really fun. And there's another one. There's another one that we have, and that's at the $35 tier, 15-minute sessions, and it could be with anybody. You don't know who you're going to get. Could be Brett, could be Steph, could be Kate, could be Mike. Who knows? So you can join over at patreon.com/thebigthingshow. Sign up today. Love to get more of you guys over there. We're building this thing out, and we love to have this kind of just community that we're building, and I'm so excited to have you all on board. So thanks. Patreon.com/thebigthingshow. All right, thank you to our friends over at GreenChef. Hope that you guys will sign up, man. It is worth it. And what a deal they got going on, especially for Thanksgiving right now. And as I mentioned with Patreon, we did a thing with Roxy. Now Roxy's on board with the benefits now too.
What's she at?
So at Mike is at 600. Is going to do 5 minutes stand up. At 650, Roxy's going to do a full hour show with Big Balls.
Whoa. That is patience. That is a built-in patience. I respect it.
A full episode is just Roxy and Big Balls.
And 700, I got to be nice for a month, right?
At 700, you have to be nice on Twitter for a month. Yeah.
I'm so afraid of that.
That's going to be. Oh, did you hear? But no, also at 700, I have to watch the 2004 ALCS Red Sox beating the Yankees with JT.
Oh, and live tweet it so I can be nice to you while you do it.
Well, you'd be nice, yeah.
That'll kick off my nice month. Will make it
100%. So,
but you know what you should do and flip it back on him? He should then have to watch both of the Super Bowls where the Giants beat the Patriots.
If we get past 700, maybe I'll add that in there.
Man, that's harsh.
Look, also not done. Staying with Marvel. Let's get into this Avengers Kang stuff. Marvel reportedly wants one director for the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Is a title change imminent? This is from our buddy Mark Cassidy over a comic book movie. The news broke last night that director destined Daniel Cretton is no longer directing Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and will instead focus on his Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings sequel. He's also doing the Wonder Man Disney Plus series, which will be part of the Spotlight banner and other unnamed Marvel Studios projects. Marvel Studios will now begin the search for another filmmaker to take charge of the ambitious MCU event, and it sounds like whoever does take the gig is going to be very busy for the next few years. Again, coming from Jeff Snyder.
Man, he's
crushing it. He's killing it. Kevin Feige ideally wants the same director for both the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars, which is essentially a two-parter. Snyder has also heard that a title change will be imminent. Now seems clear that Marvel will take a step away from the Kang storyline, either replacing Jonathan Majors as the villain or ditching the character altogether and shifting focus to another multiverse saga, probably Doctor Doom. If accurate, it obviously wouldn't make such to keep the Kang Dynasty name, and Snyder believes that Secret Wars Part 1 and Secret Wars Part 2 is a more likely outcome. As for Secret Wars, we have previously heard that the studio was looking and tried and tested filmmakers behind some of the most popular and successful movies in the MCU to ensure the highly ambitious project is in safe hands. They looked at Jon Favreau, Ryan Coogler, Sam Raimi. That's a bad choice. I like Sam Raimi, but not for the Avengers movie. No. There's a chance that Feige still has one of these directors in mind to bring in both hugely ambitious Avengers movies. Loki EP Kevin Wright recently indicated that in the Multiverse of Madness, writer Michael Walden was working on both the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. As far as where it's all going, I can't say. I am not being coy. Oh, wait, hold on a second. As far as where it's all going, I can't say, and not because I'm being coy, we're not a part of those projects. What I would say is, I know Michael Walden's working on them, and he loves this world, and he helped create it. Avengers: The Kang Dynasty is currently scheduled May 1st, 2026, and then Secret Wars to follow on May 7th. So the first thing
of 2027.
So what I will say is this.
The day later.
Hope
everybody sees
Get ready. Get ready.
The ultimate two-parter.
The number of just like random wives and girlfriends. There's a lot of women that see. Let me not say that they don't, but the number of random wives and girls being like, I'm not going with you at midnight. You can kiss my ass.
Yeah,
you just stay.
And we're going back the next day. We're going back the next day.
What I will say was, I think Snyder's right on the change of title. I think that it'll be a change of title.
I'm shocked they're handling it this way. It is so surprising that Marvel, who's usually so good at PR and optics, is letting a writer go, the director leaves, instead of just canceling the movie. Because it feels a lot more like...
Just call it.
It feels like hemorrhaging. It feels like it's bleeding out, as opposed to like, shh, it's gone now.
Because the tricky part is that the trial's not done.
Right.
That's why.
I would so... I'll be honest with you. I do want Doom in some fashion, and I figured Doom would show up like at the end of Kang Dynasty. He does.
He was gonna beat him. It's like so obvious to me.
It really felt like Doom was gonna be the one that
you do a
ends up,
7-movie Kang build up. You make Kang the coolest thing ever, and then you have Doom swoop in and take him out, and you're like, this guy just took out that guy that was 7 bad guys.
It's also why you don't give a character a title of a movie.
Because it's so obvious for people that know any, and you don't have to, but people that do go like, well, that's the plan.
Yeah, because especially when you put that out, I mean, like, Infinity War, Endgame. Yes, it was Thanos' story, but if Thanos, if Josh Brolin would have got himself in trouble, they had to move him off. Well, you had either someone else play Thanos, or you don't call it the Thanos series. You don't call it.
And Infinity, it didn't follow the comics to a T, whereas like Kang Dynasty had to do certain things. Right. It would have to.
It would have been easier to replace Thanos also too.
Sure.
Not the performance itself, but just because of the CGI making.
It upsets me in the sense that we were setting up what was a great story, and I think that as far as like how do I put this? I know people have been up and down on, and myself included, on how the stories have been going in these movies. But the one through line that has been very solid is the Kang idea and essentially what's been going on with that. So, like, we may have our beef with moments of Quantumania, but it wasn't because of Kang. It was because that movie, like, just had
but the problem, what they did with Kang in that movie is
they undermined him in his intro.
So much so. Like, granted, they set up all these different variants, but the one Kang we're supposed to be terrified of was beaten by Ant-Man and ants. And that's not too. That's
I get that, and I remember it was. And this is, I think, the thing that's also kind of a problem. It's these little tiny lines that are happening that we keep missing things. So there is a line that is said that the ants, the reason why they're able to beat him in that regard, is they've had
over
thousands upon thousands upon
that
thousands.
Doesn't make it much better.
But who cares?
But the idea that they're saying, and that's what I'm saying, it's not enough to have it in one little line. Right. I needed to see the ants do something.
Even if they are technologically evolved ants, I don't want Kang defeated by ants.
He shouldn't lose in the first movie.
I hear you. I understand, but I'm saying, like, if that was the whole situation, if that's what it was, we need to really drill certain things home. So, like, there was something that somebody brought up about the Marvels that we missed. About Goose being pregnant. Apparently, Kamala Khan's mom at one point goes, she's acting like she's pregnant. Yeah, she apparently said that.
Yeah, she does.
I thought she said it looks a little chunky or something. I thought she referenced him being fat. And obviously the eating was alluding to it, but that doesn't change the eggs being dumb.
But I'm saying, like, it wasn't enough to really drive the point home. And I think some of that is, like, sort of the issue, too, because we've talked about a lot of the writing has been not
the ending. The ending of Ant-Man Quantum is my biggest problem. It's so sloppy. And it's it just like you said, it just undermined Kang, and it just made him like that's the guy we got to worry about.
Tom Hiddleston did a better job writing Kang impact than in his performance. Like,
Kang was
the fear of Kang that Tom Hiddleston did when he wasn't on screen was better than everything we got with him on screen written by those teams, because I feel like Majors knew how to play Kang.
Yes, but that's the point that Winston was just making, is that because the writing was set up so much better because you had more time to marinate in a 6-episode thing, that his impact, he was way more effective in the Loki series than he was in Ant-Man. Like, Ant-Man, he wasn't. It's just another. Like, if that was the first time you saw Kang, you didn't see him in anything else, and he shows up in that thing, you'd be like, why is he any different than what the villain in Civil War?
And they wrote away him getting time elements, like the fact that he was in the quantum realm so they could negate his time powers. But then they have the prison scene with Cassie. The entire movie is a metaphor for lost time. We've had Paul Rudd lose time with his daughter, and instead of having Kang, the Time Conqueror, manipulate time by, like, I don't know, aging up Cassie and aging her down and going like, do you want me to kill her and watch her wither away in front of you? That's way more intimidating than, why does this guy have like TK powers and press her against the wall? He's a conqueror of time, and Paul has lost time. Why would you use everything but time?
TK powers for sure.
He did. Yeah, that's what he did.
Oh, I have to do a little. I got to do housekeeping. Speaking of Loki, you said that I guess in the comments there was He Who Remains. You said HSR.
That was me. Yeah. RIP. I said yes. I meant to say HWR. I just, dude, I even commented.
Every acronym matters.
But that's the funny thing about the internet, because I even saw the comment. I was like, my bad. I'm tired.
So dude, you know what to tell me? Like, when Roxy, who has a very strong Boston accent, cannot say the word hull. She says hull. And she sounded like she was saying the hull of the ship. And every other comment was, it's not a hole. It's a hole. He was so mad. And she's like, she had to make a little short out of it.
I saw the short. I didn't know the context.
Yeah,
So
now you
like that
do.
makes sense.
Yeah.
We accidentally called T'Challa because in the what if it's very quick. You briefly see Black Panther,
yeah.
and obviously in the 80s it would be T'Chaka, but we
Right.
referred to him as T'Challa,
Right.
and every third comment is like, that's obviously the father T'Chaka. We're like, we're sorry,
Bro,
I
just-
cannot. So I
But
get it.
you know
I
It
get
happens.
it.
It
But
happens.
this is why the internet is one of the worst things to ever happen, in the sense of, if people see one thing, instead of looking at Coy in the comments said something, Kristian in the comments said something, Roxy in the comments said something, it's a no, you didn't do the thing. And then everybody has to say it.
Well, but
Yeah.
you know why I love that? It helps the algorithm.
Yeah, you're like
I mean,
engagement.
there's
Keep saying
that.
ho ho,
There's
Roxy.
that.
those are the episodes that do
That's how
good.
you get the 102K.
See, you know what that is then? If I was getting algorithm money, I feel like I would probably
You
feel a
are,
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how do you think I pay you guys?
I was gonna say we got 102K. That didn't hurt.
I'm not getting your money.
Neither am I.
Yeah. Do you remember the drama of like 8-9 months ago? What he went through? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's no one is.
No
the
one
internet's not what it was 5 years ago.
Oh,
Right?
I know. I know.
And rent is too damn high. All right, so, but going back to this,
Oh, shh.
Yeah,
what
no,
happened? You
it's-
got gas?
Sugar honey iced tea.
What happened?
No,
remember
I
rent?
just
15th?
remembered that rent's going up next month.
Oh, that's not a moment.
The play? All right, so we continuing on here to this, staying with the title side of it. I think it is. Don't start to get cute, and don't start to try to go against the tide of the press. Just call it Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2. It's easy. It's simple. You make it Part 1. You set up the whole thing, and then you follow it up with Part 2 if it's devastating enough. The problem that they have now is they really need to make Doom devastating in the course of 2 years,
Yeah.
maybe. You know, they got that's hard. I think you recast. I think you
I think they
recast.
need to
I don't
recast.
think they're going to, but I think recast. And someone suggested this the other day. I know he's a little older, but as a variant, Denzel, you can get him. As a variant, imagine if Denzel wanted to do it.
Man, if they go with Pedro Pascal, he'd be a great Doom.
Yeah, I just think that
I know you want Henry Cavill, but Henry Cavill's a little young for Pedro Pascal as Reed because they should be peers.
right. Well, yeah, I don't think they're going to stick to that, though, dude. I don't think.
I don't think they'll like grow up together, but I think there should be like a certain, you
Yeah.
know,
Not when Lakeith Stanfield exists. He's a little scrawnier, so you're gonna have to make him go bulk up. But like that, he has a very similar energy of that kind of like dry, intimidating, in your face
Kang?
type.
Yeah.
I've
see
seen
it.
him do it
I can
enough
see it.
times that he could
like
tap
Lakeith
it.
Stanfield.
He could
yeah, like
tap
after
into.
Haunted Mansion, especially.
I never saw that one, but there's tons of other movies that he's been in.
He's got a Brother Voodoo vibe for me that I love. I think he'd be such a good
I don't
Brother Voodoo.
disagree with that. I don't think Brother Voodoo's on the radar right
No,
now.
especially
though.
not compared to Kang.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like he gives me that same kind of dry, but I could break you energy.
I mean,
that-
I'm 90% sure he's still Wonder Man, but Yaya would kill it. Yaya as Kang would be incredible. That presence,
Right.
that like
But
energy.
this, what we're doing right now, though, to be honest, is fantasy casting because they're not going to do it.
100%.
No,
They're
I
not
know
going to
they're
do
not.
it. They're
I
going to
know
go
they're
away
not.
from it, and they're going to. And they might also think, and they might not be wrong if they do think this, that it just got a little too sloppy, and they have a clean out with Loki. And if they're like, we got to clean out with Loki, basically the TVA, they're going after the Kang variants. It's all done. We
Yeah,
got them.
it's over there.
It's over there. Don't worry about it. Look over here now. It's a clean option. I understand.
But when do you bring in Doom FF and then you just hope he's powerful enough to
You
really
gotta
try?
hope,
But
you
see-
gotta cast strong.
Oh, man.
Well-
you
Yeah.
gotta cast strong now.
Daniel Day-Lewis hanging out with Bradley Cooper played Rocket. You call DZL up, you make that happen.
I know. For
I
real.
should have called you guys or text you guys about this because I saw something about the showrunner of Loki being like, "Yeah, we're hoping for season 3," and I'm like, "Why?
Why?
You ended it. Like, why would you do
No
this?
season 3.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
don't do
Yeah,
that.
Anything
it's
but
such a
that.
poetic ending.
It was
Leave
alone.
It's
beautifully
the best
perfect.
ending in the MCU, I think.
I used to crap on the British all the time, be like, "Why are your shows like 8 episodes and then everything's a limited series? What's wrong with you?" But
Because they got
there's-
impact.
But if you do it properly, it's perfect.
And then when Luther comes back, it matters. Or Sherlock comes back for a Christmas special.
Yeah.
You feel it.
And-
as opposed to like 82 episodes of like,
Yeah.
eh.
And then if Loki shows up in Secret Wars, you're like, oh, there's the guy. That's him. That's
And
the
then,
guy.
then you get your Thor Loki moment, not in a show. You get it
No.
as an impactful singular moment.
You should
Beyond time.
Leave leave it be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what interview he was in. He may have just been talking about the season finale and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, yeah, hoping for season 3. I'm like, please, Jesus, don't. Like, this is perfect.
I also, but go back to what you said before about Pedro. People have been out of work for a little bit.
Everyone's like, what do we got next?
He's like, I'll write another one.
The number of things that have been ruined because people just want money.
Yeah.
That said, I think Molecule Man, you've read the Secret Wars recently enough to remember Molecule Man?
Yeah.
I think that was the idea of what Kang might be to Doctor Doom. Like he takes him out and then he's kind of under his thumb and you've got that level of power. What I might do is bring in Molecule Man to have that position filled in the Secret Wars storyline. And that would be something you could do as not as big of a villain, but someone that would allow for that like secondhand man OP.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice.
Because so basically Molecule Man is this very powerful fixture in comics that like wasn't really given any credit, but he can manipulate reality at the end of the day. But since he's called Molecule Man, it never really mattered.
Right.
It's a cheesy name.
Right.
So I think Kang was going to be taken out by Doom to become like a lieutenant, and then in Secret War you have that element. So what they might be able to do is show this character that's really powerful, and then show that Doom has control over him, and that would give you both a destructive and creative way to like, because you really got to build Doom up quick.
I know you. I mean that's an understatement.
It's
like you got to cast him like yesterday.
You got to put him in Cap 4. You got to put him in like not in the movie, but like post credit. Like you got to introduce him.
You got to get him like you got to get him.
Has no relation
Nothing
at all.
Yet. That's what I mean.
Like, Fantastic Four is like, what, 6 months before the first Avengers?
Yes, they fight from time to time, but
no, it's not.
Doom does not mix it up with Captain America unless the Avengers are involved.
Spider-Man pops up.
He's just saying, but you
I'm
can
saying
just
you got to introduce the character.
You can put a post-credit scene in the same way. But look, the same way that you put, the spoiler for the Marvels. You got giving you warning.
But she has a relation.
Well, I guess
I mean, if you go to the comics, there is a relation. I'm trying to avoid the spoiler, but also say it. There is a relation with Monica and Captain Marvel and all that with what you're talking about.
So what you could also do is whatever a particular scene is in the movie that we don't know the movie of Captain America, that you could somehow relate it, whatever it might be, scientists or whoever's going to play the ultimate through line that gets us to Secret Wars. Which also kind of, I guess, gets me to my next question, because they have to set Doom up. If they're going to go with Doom and not Kang, do we actually see 2025 and 2026?
No. But also, Cap has a direct solution. It might not be the comic book answer, but the logical film answer is what's more geopolitical than Captain America, and what's a better villain for a geopolitical drama than Dr. Doom, the warlord, overlord of Latveria. He won't be, but imagine there's a geopolitical intrigue in that movie where you've got all these ramifications, and then the one that made that happen, pulling the strings, post-credit scene. So you've got like an invasion, you've got a war, you got something going on, and then at the end of the day, it's who actually benefits from that war. Latveria, and then Dr. Doom, literally Thanos turnaround smile.
Right. It's the thing that's so wild is obviously the direct opposition is a Fantastic Four and Doom, right?
Right.
But other than that, most like Doom really doesn't mix it up with anybody that essentially is not also a super genius. So like there have been plenty of times where Tony and Doom have gone at each other because it's like, Tony, your armor is pathetic. It's nothing compared to me and what I do. My Doom bots can deal with you. Like, you know what I mean? So like the fact that we don't even have another genius of some sort floating around that could be that, I could even see Doom. God, if you had thought about this far enough, I know you were working on dealing with Namor and whatnot in Wakanda Forever. That would have made more sense because there's times you've tried to take over Wakanda to get the vibranium.
We talked about the geopolitical intrigue. We thought, like even at the council when they're all discussing the loss,
because they didn't want to. They didn't want to go out and they should have. They should have cast at that point. They should have had him.
Well, they're focused on Kang.
Even strange because Doom is half tech, half magic. That would have also made a lot of sense. Just the idea of Doom being Captain America, I got nothing.
Well, let me tell you. This is when I would use my power. I would get Kevin Feige in here, and I would ask him every question of like, what are you really thinking right now? Like, and to get to all the real answers of what really is going on, because when you see Kevin Feige and he's at a thing, he's like, oh yeah, we're figuring out. Meanwhile, he's like, he's freaking out.
Inside, he's like every single phrase and word.
Oh my God, even Thor. There have been times where he's taken the Odin Force.
I mean, he fought Spider-Man in Spider-Man #6. Like the 6th issue of Spider-Man was Spider-Man versus Doom, but it was like a playful scientific win. But Spider-Man's not in the MCU right now.
No, so look, there's so much already. We've covered 2 stories today, and this is a massive story. And the question again to you guys is, what happens with this? what happens. Like we've been talking about it all week on Wednesday, Thursday, and now today. With the the writer, we didn't really cover it just now with the three of us, but like the writer took off working on other things. The director took off working on other things. They're potentially changing the title. What do? Do they recast Kang? Do they go with Doom? If so, when do you introduce him? Let's have that conversation here today because we don't have a clue. How about you guys? Do you have a clue? Do you think you know what's going to happen? Let's hear it. We had some trailers. Madam Web came out. Now I like Dakota Johnson. I'll tell you that much. But the trailer, you're talking about time travel and all that stuff too. I just feel like everybody's relying on this. I thought that the trailer was an error.
I thought you went full Medea.
I was like this. It's like I don't know. It's like it's fine. You know, I don't know.
I mean, look, I should have watched it, especially based off what we do and how I got flamed by you last time when I didn't watch a superhero. I just wasn't interested. Like in the same way that like I had never been interested in this movie at all. And I know I will eventually watch the trailer, but I don't care. In the same way that I didn't really care about Kraven, I eventually saw that trailer and I was like, there's enough there that I'll watch this.
It's just I look at this and I go, God, Sony needs Marvel Studios. It's like they just don't know how to make these movies.
I'm so glad they're not part of Marvel.
I know. Right. Well, right.
Because I love like that they make these 2000s movies, man. It's like going to Blockbuster and you're like, okay, somebody took Resident Evil, somebody took Underworld. What's that other one? And it's always that like
feel
so
late 90s.
Yeah, and like this movie actually has direction in it, and like you can call out the camera quality if you want, but the camera moves. It's got some inventive framework. It's introducing characters Marvel would never touch. It's a lot of deep cut fun stuff for nerds.
I'm gonna time travel and watch what I do here. All right. Winston, you've seen the trailer now.
No, I haven't. I have not. What are you talking about? That's
see that jump cut? Winston has now seen. Isn't it amazing? Like,
he can see the
you've
future.
actually seen the trailer.
Did you just Madam Web time travel?
You did in the episode.
I put the trailer in your head.
You're welcome.
Winston, what did you think of the trailer?
I think Roxy was right. Those powers are evil, and you should never use them. How dare you?
Right.
Okay. I understand what we were talking earlier about how you love your 2000s popcorn blockbuster movie.
There's a Twilight audience that isn't satiated.
Ran out of time,
but you know what? But you know,
I think Final Destination means Brightburn is a great angle.
But here's the thing. I know that like Black Adam wasn't the best. There was something about that popcorn blockbuster movie that was still like, okay, not that. That was terrible. That reminds me of Morbius. I'm instantly like, I don't care.
Saw Morbius thrice.
Because all of these Sonyverse movies are that kind of popcorn 2000s mentality. Venom is at least fun. There's nothing fun about Morbius other than the dance we were talking
Matt
about.
Smith, man, perfect.
That was hilarious. The rest of that movie, awful.
Yeah, Morbius is a disaster.
There's nothing about this that I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I just don't know where the audience is going to come from. I just don't. But it's also like this whole connectivity. They're trying to connect it to Spider-Man because they have the things coming out of the girl.
Well, so like all three of the characters and Madam Web are connected to Spider-Man. Like they're all like Spider-Man characters. Right. Spider-Woman is a character from the 70s. She's actually first appearance in Secret Wars 6 and 7, and then like
which one's Spider-Woman?
All three of them are all Spider-Woman, and then Madam Web. So they're all different Spider-Women.
So is Madam Web bad?
Madam Web is she's a clairvoyant. She's not good or bad. She's kind of a neutral. She just sees.
And that's Dakota
Johnson.
Okay.
She's usually an old lady. She was in the Spider-Man animated series in that wheelchair and all red, like that character, but young. Basically, like it's a way to use all the B and C list Spider characters without Spider-Man, which is what Sony's been doing. But I think there's a market for kitsch, and I think that's very intentional. Personally, I think when I want bar food, I get bar food, and when I want to go to the Olive Garden, I go to Olive Garden. When I go to a nice restaurant, I see Scorsese. And I think the reason I didn't forgive the Marvels, I will want to enjoy other movies, is because it's a different meal goal.
Yeah, I understand that mentality. I understand that mentality, but I think it's smart. I mean, and I'm not saying this condescendingly. I think it's smart for you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a smart business move. I don't.
Dude.
Because the reason why is I don't think that everyone feels the way that you do, the casual viewers.
Sure.
Like, you're a person who sees movies, you love comic book movies, you love these things. People are selective of what they're going to see in the theater.
But if there's
Especially post-COVID. That's you have to keep in mind. Like,
well, this was made before we did
when
the
does this
box
come
office
out?
numbers. February 14th, Valentine's Day, Dakota Johnson Day.
The only reason it's fine. The only reason that it's got a shot is because of the strikes,
Date night.
and that because of the strikes, and there's
not a lot of content.
and there's not a lot of content out in the movie. So if people want to go to the movies, see it, but again, the superhero fatigue as it is right now is not
going
helping.
to make this worse.
Yes.
That's the thing. You are genuinely going to make the superhero fatigue worse.
Yes.
By putting out stuff like, because the other thing that's crazy, Spider-Man is such a big deal. We're all aware that arguably the biggest superhero, like the argument, it's like him and Batman. That's it. You could sort of make Superman, but if we're being honest, he really is like 2, and they're 1A, 1B, Batman and Spider-Man, right? So that being said, I understand that he's got the rogues gallery and the various allies and all the different stuff, but the idea of trying to literally take this one little chicken wing and suck every little piece of meat off, and there isn't even meat there. Now you're just sucking on air. There's literally nothing left. And you're doing this. I don't need a Craven movie. I don't need a Madam Web movie. I don't need these. Venom made a little bit of sense. The rest of this don't make no sense, baby.
I think an R-rated Craven's a great thing for it because it moves things towards R-rated. It makes
to know that he'll never fight Spider-Man, though. Get out of here,
I think
bro.
after Secret Wars, he goes back to Sony. I think at least a Spider-Man is over there after Secret Wars.
Maybe
at
Miles.
least one. Yeah. I think they have at least a Spider-Man for all these. Then you get the Sinister Six, and you've got all these villains get their own movie.
Yeah,
they just haven't. Yeah, I'm with you, Winston. I'm on the same page. Coy, I appreciate your optimism.
I got hope, and I enjoy the 2 years I get to hope for things until I see them and they break my heart.
Like you said, you enjoyed Morbius.
Yeah.
Morbius. You enjoyed Morbius, but you also have to acknowledge that it ate a big pile of garbage.
Oh, totally. But Venom's the opposite, so I don't know which way it's going to go.
Venom 1 and 2 and they're pushing the new Venom.
Yeah,
right?
Venom's November next year.
I thought they pushed it. No,
did they?
I thought so. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, they could have. I thought they pushed it like within the year, though.
You might be right.
Here's your sports analogy for the day. This is, hey, we really want football on all days of the week. So you know what we're going to do? On Thursday, we're going to have the Panthers play the effing Bears. Nobody cares. They're both terrible.
Right.
Shift it. Make them play some other time on a thing we don't care about.
And this is why I showed Winston the trailer. So the last thing that I do want to talk about before we get out of here is the trailer for What If. What If Season 2 came out. I love What If Season 1. I love it. What I really enjoyed about this trailer a lot was that it got me intrigued, and I don't know what the stories are yet. This to me, though, however, from what Marvel has proven to me about Part 1, is this is essentially what Visions is for Star Wars. This doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. If you go into this thinking that it's actually canon, you're going to be disappointed because you had such the opportunity to connect all of this stuff from What If into Doctor Strange, and everybody thought it would because of the stuff with Peggy, and you're like, oh, there we go. And they never even play with it at all. They don't have anything to do with who's Jeffrey Wright play?
The Watcher.
The Watcher. Like they have nothing.
Not even Sorcerer Supreme, who they have a version of that isn't him. All played by Benedict Cumberbatch.
They didn't pay attention to it at all. In the same way they didn't pay attention to WandaVision, they didn't pay attention to What If. So the one side, and a lot of people are like, well, good, I don't need it to. Don't think that this connects to the MCU because it really doesn't. But man, it looks fun.
That Mad Max episode, I'm so excited for.
So which one is that again? That's
the one. I think it's called Iron Man crashes into.
Okay.
I don't know which order it is, but the one that looked like they were playing Mario Kart, like that crazy car one. That got me.
Do you guys?
What a glorious day!
Yeah. Do you have any
so
indication of what some of the stories are? Or
I mean, I do. So like I think the Hogan Saves Christmas is going to be like a Christmassy. I think it's going to be a spiritual sequel to Iron Man 3 because that was very Christmas. I think it's going to be like basically Die Hard in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, and they even throw that joke in there,
I think that's why they like call it, on its nose. And I'm curious if we find out who actually bought Avengers Mansion because that's been hanging since Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
I think we're gonna get a new hero in that character they announced was brand new and canon to this. The Native American character that's in the like third act of the trailer. I think she might be an Echo because it feels like they're getting this out in time for Echo in January.
You had an Avengers Mansion.
Yeah, remember someone bought Avengers Mansion and Spider-Man 2, and they were like,
"Oh, the compound."
Yeah.
I'm literally thinking of like because at times they've actually had a mansion.
Like
I was like, there was an Avengers
Avengers
mansion?
Tower.
No. I understand. I'm sorry for being a dick. I genuinely was just like, wait. Did I miss something?
In my head, it's always Avengers Mansion, Avengers Tower from.
No, the compound. You're talking about they left the compound. They were in a rush to get.
No, the building in New York got bought. Happy Hogan's packing it up.
Remember
the plane?
That's
in Homecoming.
That's Homecoming.
And then
but I thought they also sold the compound.
They sold everything. They haven't mentioned who bought it.
The compound got destroyed by Thanos
in Endgame.
In Endgame, you're talking about the tower.
Yeah, the tower and Hogan's moving stuff out of it.
You said Spider-Man 2 though.
I did. Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
But I think because it's Hogan, we might finally find out.
Yeah. I guess that would negate my whole thing about having any canon information, but it's like nothing relevant.
Yeah, it'll be a throwaway if that's the case. I think we're gonna find out what happened in the events after Ragnarok with the Collector.
Mm-hmm.
So the Grandmaster. I think that might be the car episode.
Yeah.
What else happens in the trailer?
T'Chaka and Thor.
That episode, the T'Chaka episode. So it's called "What If Star-Lord Attacked the Avengers" or something like that. But what it is, I think, is he comes back to Earth as a bad guy. Like he was raised to take out, and he fights the Avengers in the '80s, and it's the '80s team. So it's Michael Douglas as Ant-Man, and that's why Michael Douglas. But I think it's going to be the '80s.
Who's doing the
comics.
voice for Michael Douglas?
Sounds just like him. It might be Michael Douglas. He loves
Ants. It could be
ants.
Jamie Costa.
Oh, it could be Jamie Costa.
I wonder if it's Jamie Costa.
Did Jamie Costa do a lot of Michael Douglas impersonation?
He does a great Michael Douglas.
After that Ants promo, I think Michael Douglas is just in love with ants. Like I think he might just be in. Yeah. But I think the '80s Avengers team is my most anticipated.
Did you like the trailer?
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. Because I liked What If. So you know what I mean? I feel like there was only one episode of What If I didn't vibe with, but the rest of them I thought were really good. Some incredible.
Yeah.
Like the Doctor Strange episode was incredible.
Are they going to follow up with that Ultron storyline?
They're certainly going to follow up with Sorcerer Supreme because it was in the trailer. But I don't know.
But it was such a big thing that I thought they were actually going to play it into the MCU. Like Ultron was coming back.
They set up the whole season.
Nothing.
Maybe that's what they do. They have Doom take out Ultron, bring Ultron back, and make him relevant, take out Doom. You know what I mean? Like maybe.
I mean, maybe.
I'm even surprised that they don't. You're dealing with all these timelines and you're dealing with all these universes and the Watchers there. I'm surprised TVA doesn't come up at some point. Like you don't even need to.
I think they're going to come up in Deadpool.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And maybe the events of What If will tie into Deadpool loosely. Like they need some cohesiveness.
Why do you think they're going to come into Deadpool?
Because he's going to be taking out universes.
I think because Deadpool's hopping back and forth, taking things out.
Get recruited by the TVA.
I think they're going to try to stop him.
I think he's causing problems accidentally. I think he's messing things up, and they're like, bro.
Yeah. So, all right, we covered a lot without even covering that many. So, what do you guys think about everything we talked about here today? Make sure that you let your voices be known, comment, and I want to thank my guests here today, or my co-hosts, I would say. Winston A. Marshall, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all the platforms. I don't know why I did that weird dramatic pause. But yeah, no.
You were texting and you didn't want to.
It wasn't that I was texting. I was trying to make sure because we sent a bunch of stories back and forth that we got all the ones we were talking about. That's all. But anyway,
you missed anything?
Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, you can find me at the Swaggy Blurred. I've been doing my CPT reviews back on there, man, and all that stuff. Go over on TikTok, Instagram, check out some of the fun content I've got on there as well. And then, once in a blue moon, when Koi gets into trouble on Twitter, I'm also there bailing him out. So,
which I appreciate. And I also liked your Thanos Smo smile, like that little turn smile. I appreciate it. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube everywhere at Koi Jandro. I just passed 40K on TikTok. Nice. Finally, trying to get it to 50K, and I'm 400 away from 40K on Instagram. So if you don't follow me, please do, because once I hit those numbers, I can actually charge some money to do things on them. And I need money because I live in LA. So much love. Thank you guys. And I'm really excited for everything we're talking about. I'm hopeful again in 2025. We'll see how it shakes out.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. And as I mentioned before, make sure if you're in the Burbank area on December 2nd, please come see us. We're going to be doing some fun stuff there. All the guys will be doing some stand-up comedy, and we hope that you'll be joining us. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, do all of that for sure. I don't know if we're going to have a show next week. We're talking about it. It's just because it's Thanksgiving week. So we'll talk about it. At the very least, we'll probably do maybe a virtual show. But I'm sure there's going to be some news that we're probably going to have to. Winston will probably wind up sending 5 stories by the time we stop recording today. Then we'll go break. So most likely we'll do a digital show. We just got to figure out when that is. So thanks a lot. Thanks to our friends over at Green Chef. Thank you for all the people who signed up to Patreon over the last week. And we'll see you on the flip side, everybody. Capes and Cows, big thing. See you later.
Gen V.